Hi, and welcome to an episode of Good Soup After Dark. I'm Jay Gonzalez.
And you probably don't believe, but I am Marie.
This time we're not fooling the people.
Yeah.
Well, we have a pretty special and different little unique episode for you this time around. Recently, we went to the Pancakes and Booze art show in Philadelphia. Not only did we go, but we're both a part of it. Marie's done quite a few shows displaying her work. Morihrih Art. We'll make sure we tag Morihrih Art in the description box down below. Marie's had a pretty pleasant experience doing multiple shows over there. And this time was a little different. Marie, you care to tell them how this time was a little different?
Yeah, this time we have two walls. One dedicated to Morihrih Art, and one was specifically for a good soup. And mostly for a good soup after dark, for a podcast you're watching right now. What we did is actually, because on this particular event, there is a lot of people, all artistically tuned. They are interested in everything new and try to see something new. And we ask people 3 really personal questions and ask them to answer as positive as possible. And today we decide to share these questions with you and these people's answers also. And me and Jay, we're going to answer this question.
Yep, we're going to answer some of these questions and kind of have discussions about it. And we're also, like Marie said, we're going to share the reactions and answers that people were kind enough to give us as well. So if you see yourself in the video, make sure you let us know. Say hi in the comments. And without further ado, we hope you enjoy this episode of Good Soup
After Dark.
So, like Marie said, these are kind of like personal. The objective was to make them kind of personal and thought-provoking. Like, what I'll say is that, like, kind of recently, Marie and I have gone through some difficult times. And it's always like, I think instinctively we try to find hope wherever we can. And, like, what's hope if you don't have, like, an obstacle, if you don't have something like, you know, like everyone faces different obstacles, difficulties, and hope is what keeps people going. So that was kind of like the thought process behind making these questions. Like Marie said, we wanted to kind of keep it positive. We didn't want to focus in on the negative so much as we wanted to talk about like that journey back towards the light, I guess we'll say.
Yeah, it's going to be much easier to understand what we're talking about when we start to open up the questions and answers.
That being said, we had these color-coded question cards. They're a little dogged up now because they're a couple weeks old, but I still have them here. And I will read the first question for you. What is your mother's maiden name and your social security number?
Security number and your mother's maiden name. All right. Your social security number and your mother's maiden name. I'm joking.
Oh, my word.
And what's your social and your mom's last name?
Oh, well, that one's easy. I can do that one. Look at, he's split.
Look, it's a corn in the studio.
Obviously, we're just kidding. Like Marie said, there is corn in the studio. But let's get into it for real. All right, so the first question is, sometimes we all attempt to do something or reach a goal, but we fall short. Can you describe a time that has happened to you and what you learned from that experience?
Yeah, that's a good question. What's the people answer?
A time that I fell short, I think was trying to start a new career while also simultaneously trying to do art, and kind of wasn't doing as much art and kind of focusing on the new career that's not my current job. My current job is fantastic, but my previous job was a little bit closer to home, so it made it easier, but was trying to do my job as well as do art. and I found it difficult to create things that had meaning, that were like special to me, as opposed to like things that are more material that people might enjoy. It's like, oh, I was kind of catering more to like what I thought people might buy as opposed to what I wanted to create. And I think what I took away from that experience was that you can't, work is important. Obviously, we all need to make money and have our jobs, but I think it's also at least 50-50 important to stay true to your whimsical self, stay true to your weird self, make the art that you want to make, and don't cater to what you think people will buy. I think once you start doing that, then it becomes more about the money and less about what true nature of artwork you want to make.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could even use today as an example. First time doing Pancakes and Booze, and when I first got here and just seeing everyone and kind of already set up in their spots, I'm like, oh man, I am late. But something I've always liked with art is fitting it into the little nooks and crannies where someone otherwise wouldn't normally go to look, but I feel like everyone here likes to look in those spots. So what went from a little bit of anxiety of, I don't know how I'm going to approach this event that's going to happen and where to set up, to let me try and have some fun with it and see where I can fit myself into.
Dang, matter of fact, I just kind of went through this. I didn't have nobody to help me with my drywall. Just keep pushing, do it yourself. If nobody won't help you, do it yourself. You get it done. So that's my best advice I can give you. Do it yourself.
No, I've had a couple of goals that I feel I've strived for, but I never really quite reached the goal that I wanted to get to. I feel like I very much have strong ADHD and I hyperfixate on a couple things. It might be, at one time I was doing video game streaming before that was very popular, like way back in middle school days. And that, I did very good. I was making little amounts of money. Then I switched over and I started to really focus on trying to get into college for soccer. Unfortunately, that strong ADHD as well as dyslexia that I didn't find out I had until I was going into college definitely affected my grades and affected where I went with that. And that was a big, it knocked me down multiple pegs. I had a lot of friends who were very, very smart, who went to very, very prestigious schools, Ivy Leagues, and just good schools in general. And my roommate even, he went to an Ivy, he is now a lawyer, but I also now have taken steps past that. Maybe I didn't become the soccer star that I wanted, but my dad and I have grown a business to becoming successful and on to hopefully becoming more and more successful as we grow. But it took me a good couple years to fight through that whole depressive, I didn't get to where I thought I was gonna be throughout high school and getting into college. I definitely was like taken back, but through a little bit of therapy and a little bit of just close friends and fortunately close partners, as well as my pets personally, who is quite literally one of them who just passed, but he was there throughout those hard times for me where like, truthfully, without my pets just being there for me and my good couple close friends, I don't know that I would have been able to make it through those tough times. But now I'm on that other side. We are very, very happy. Lots of ups, lots of positive things. And, we got a new baby puppy we're very happy with, and a beautiful girlfriend that I'm very happy with. So all very, very positive things. So it just takes a little bit of fight to get through that struggle, but we're happy now. So very positive.
So I wrote a book, and the first version, which I spent so long writing, I brought to the publisher, and they pretty much said, "What are you doing? This isn't how it needs to be. You have to do this instead." So I went and redid it, and then went to the next person who I was hoping would publish the book. And they also said, "Oh, you need to do all this other stuff." So I redid the whole thing. But I learned so much through the process and eventually was able to publish the book. So those failures or hurdles, opportunities to kind of jump forward were really helpful.
The first thing that come to mind, I failed a lot of women, y'all. It's all right, we all do it. I guess like when you fail, you gotta remember you still you at the end of the day type shit. Like, yeah, I fucked up, but I'm still an ant, you know what I'm saying? But I guess you just don't. I try not to lose myself or try not to attach too much of myself to a goal, like my identity, I guess,
Yeah, so like I guess like just like a real kind of off the cuff answer for this question, because like it's kind of a little heavy to ask somebody that, especially when they're not expecting an answer like that. But like failures don't have to be a major catastrophic event in your life. It can be a collection of things that are like like didn't go your way, and it adds up. So like for example for me, and like I know I gave this example when we're out there to try to help people understand the question where we're coming from. Like,
but its example was really personal.
Yeah, so it was a really personal example. So like right now, thankfully I have a new job on the way, starting soon, a new day job, besides what we do here at Good Soup, we got to pay the bills. So yeah, I've been, doing job interviews, job applications, and like anyone who's been looking for work and who's been looking for work kind of long term, whether you're trying to do a career change or like you need to find a job like yesterday. Yeah, it's like challenging, like especially like when you do an interview, you go in there, you feel good, you answer the questions correctly or in a way that you think like leaves the interviewer impressed, and the interviewer might actually seem like they like you, and you guys joke around, and like, I try not to get ahead of myself, but like one particular interview I could think of was like, I got this interview, like I decide whether or not I'm going to do this job, that's how confident I felt. And then I was supposed to get notified the next day. Didn't get a phone call, didn't get a text or anything. I'm a little worried, but I'm like, what, sometimes these things take time. The following day, I remembered, I have an email address. Let me check that. Look at my email, realize I got an email the day before saying we did not go with you for this position. And it was a little heartbreaking, like I felt confident. Like I was like, I got this job. Like I'm skilled enough. Like I think I know how to talk to people. I feel like I can carry a conversation and impress people. And, maybe I did. Maybe I did do a really good interview, but there was other candidates there for that same position, and they decided to go with a different candidate. And that can definitely bring you down. That could bring down your self-esteem. Definitely made me revisit my resume. But the biggest thing is just like, keep your head up. Like just because you try really hard at something doesn't mean that it's automatically yours. You can practice every day for the big game, but sometimes things happen. Like you eat something that makes you feel weird, or the other team just practice harder and you lose. And it's just kind of, it's just accepting the loss and moving on. You're not always going to complete something and accomplish something on the first try. You're not always going to get your way because you're a good person. You're not always going to get the thing that you want or think that you deserve because you did the work to get that thing. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. And like I said, fortunately for me, like that didn't discourage me from my job search. I just continued. And yeah, like I said, I have something coming up next week. Pretty excited for it. And yeah, I think, like I said, it's not like such a catastrophic failure that my world ended, but like just keeping that positive mindset and trying to move forward, you keep it from feeling that way, if that makes sense.
So I had the situation back in my first institute and then university. I can't say that I learned it's great lesson, but I had situation that when my diploma was almost made, we talked with the teacher about everything. We write it down this together. It means like I write it down, they read it, and they accept it. And everything was great until the moment, like a week before or a couple days before, I need to protect my work in front of the jury in a university. And my teacher told me, well, you make you make your diplomas work about protection of animals, so going against using a fur and leather. But our university is actually specialized in work and creating like bags and furry stuff. And I said like, well, it's doesn't make my work not worth anything. But my teacher said, well, I talking to other people and they say it's not good. It's totally not good. And I was really upset because I proud of my work. It's already made it. It's a couple days and I can't redo all my work. And I say like, well, if you not support me, I'm going to support myself, and I go and protect my work in a way I know how. And I feel really, really desperate. I feel really betrayed, if I can say that. Like, my teacher betrayed me because he thought everything is cool, and until the last moment he's talking with someone else. And I feel really down, and honestly, for some time I thought maybe I don't need to go to protect my work at all. But I did. And at the jury was a really famous photographer. Like, he's Ukraine famous, but he's work worldwide, mostly Europe, but I think he's work in America and Latin America. And he was with his own student. And they sitting there. I go on a stage, and I show my work. I read my work, whatever was prepared at that time, and everyone was quiet in the auditorium. And this photographer just stand up and say, "Well, I believe Ukraine not ready for anything like this." And I think, God, that sounds bad. I probably lose this game. But after these words, he said, "But what? But Ukraine and Europe, like, so far have this kind of commercials. They talking about life protection, like animal life protection, not using fur, not using leather because there's alternatives, and talking about this. It's bad to use animals in this kind of way." And he said he believed that this work worth to exist, and I feel kind of proud of myself. But at the same time, I don't have a good grade on that work because still my teacher and university, what I pass this it's not a test, but when I protect my work, when I study, and they was really not really against, like, not really for it. They was really against it. They don't want to be someone who do the work with the fur and leather, and at the same time have a students who go against it. So it's kind of like not good for them. They're not going to look good. So they give me a good grade that I have my diploma, but not enough to have like diploma with like
Honors.
Huh?
Honors.
Honors. Thank you. So I kind of lose this game, but at the same time, what I learn is sometimes your idea is more important than someone else thought about that. And if you're gonna do whatever you need to do, you're gonna have what you need to have. For in my situation is diploma. I have diploma, and I'm proud of it. And you always find the people who support your idea. And I believe that people who support you much more important than those people who talking about supporting you until something happens. I always do how I feel right, how my heart and my ideas gonna be shown as well and as clean as possible. I always listen to other people, not always do what they say, but I believe that lesson and that fall that I have makes me feel more proud of myself. And I definitely know if I did something, it's my own. It's not someone else. It's not because someone else tell me to change it, or someone else tell me that's gonna look better, or someone tell me, well, you can have better grades if you do this differently. If it's my idea to not use the animals as for a leather and just for fashion, I think I did a good job morally and stubbornly, if I can say that. I don't know if it's a real word. So yeah, I think it's my story.
I like that example because, like I mentioned earlier, failure or coming up short doesn't have to be like this catastrophic thing. It's all over. Your example was, and you didn't even like, in a way, straight up fail because like you still got that passing good enough grade. But like your instructor, your teacher, who you're supposed to look up to, was like, this is not good enough.
Yeah, it was betrayed.
Yeah, if I could fail you for not meeting the task, like I would, but you did the task technically, so I'm just going to give you a barely passing grade. Like that can be seen as a failure. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be straight up like, I ruined everything. And then on top of that, like, you know, despite people having those similar feelings, like you did get validation in your work, like people are just not ready for this yet. And you never let that stop you from pursuing what it is that you want to do. I think that's like a perfect example of like how you learn from that experience.
Thank you.
Well, we are ready to go on to the next question. Sometimes things in life can bring you down and leave you feeling sad or even depressed. What do you do to start feeling positive and build yourself back up? We're going to direct this to the people, and we'll come back with our answer shortly.
The best thing I do to get myself back up from a depressive episode is probably to look back at all of my achievements and all the little steps I've taken in life, and that helps me realize just how lucky I am. It helps me build gratitude, and it just shows me that it's worth going through bad times because eventually there'll be good times.
To pick myself back up, I usually will be present. I will stay as present as I can and remind myself that it's one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, and 1 minute at a time. And I let myself be lazy and like engulfed in bed rotting, and that's okay too. I don't have to be doing all the time, even though my brain is like, what are we gonna do? And sometimes not doing is doing.
I lean towards something positive, like a movie, music, and I like to ride my bike, so, you know, that helps too. Feel good movies, maybe comedy, something like that, you know. Like I said, uplifting music, you know, nothing sad, you know, just something that is upbeat. You know.
What's an example of that?
The Jeffersons, moving on up. I don't know, you know.
That's great.
Listen to music. Smoke a little. Do you hear that from me? Dance with friends. Draw. Chill. Go to places like this. See different things. Yeah.
For me, it's about getting out to nature and just, you know, opening my mind a bit more. I travel around so much, and I know one thing that I do that gets me up is going outside and going for a walk, getting inspiration wherever I can see. And, you know, for me, it always builds me up every single time.
Probably eat some good soup. No, I pretty much try to really, I say more like faith into whatever anybody believe in, you know, and try to meditate more, try to think about more of the good positive things that you'll accomplish more than the bad. So that's how I go about it.
So faith.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. That's awesome.
All right. So I'll start.
Sure.
And I'm going to cheat a little bit because not really. One of the people that we spoke to actually redirected the question back at me. And I'm just going to play that portion right now.
Any more good soup?
Do you want to answer another one?
No. How about you answer one?
Oh, I'm saving that for when we shoot the episode.
No,
But what do I do? Putting me on the spot. This is the first. So my social security number. Oh, wrong question. All right. You know what? Like, we came up with these questions because we'll be a little kind of forthcoming. We're going through a bit of a rough time right now. You know, we try to stay positive. You know, it's like kind of what we've been doing is just kind of really like digging our noses into the work. So like we do the video production, Marie does the painting, and we're just trying to take the time that we have now, regardless of how we're feeling, and try to make that into something. Like you can see like especially like the artwork, it's all colorful, it's all bright. The podcast is more of a positive platform. Like we interview different artists, entrepreneurs, and like, you know, ask people their story and like how they accomplish the things they accomplish. So I think by like really kind of diving into the work that we're doing is kind of helping us keep our heads above water.
Right.
Cause like it's really, and don't get me wrong, there's days where before one of our recent interviews, like I curled up on the couch all day with the dog, like I don't want to fucking get out of bed, dude. And then we had an interview that night, so we just had to like perk up. Like this person doesn't know what we're going through. We're trying to offer our platform to this person and try to build him and try to build ourselves up. So like putting the work kind of ahead of us and like our mission kind of just helps us keep going.
Right. Yeah, that was a good one.
I was going to save that for the actual episode, but you know, I'll throw that in.
So yeah, just kind of piggybacking off of what Jay of Christmas Past has said. Like it's really easy to feel down on yourself, even to the point where you don't want to do anything. Like I said, that wasn't a lie. What I said, you know, before that interview we had that night, I literally curled up on the couch with the dog for hours, didn't do anything. Told myself that morning, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna edit, I'm gonna make some stuff before he gets here. And I did exactly nothing. And like I said, even like I wanted to cancel that night because I was just feeling so down. But that being said, you know, not everyone knows the struggles you're going through. And not to say that people don't care, but you make commitments. And I wouldn't be proud of myself if I made a commitment to do that interview and let the person down by saying like, I can't do it tonight and giving just some BS excuse. Like, by all means, like if you need a mental health day or like you need to take time for yourself, do so. I don't think I was at that point. Obviously I wasn't, because we were able to complete the task. We had a good podcast interview. And like I think we made a great episode that he enjoyed, that we enjoyed, and we enjoyed having that discussion with him. So like it was definitely worth like kind of not putting my feelings to the side, but not letting them control me. You know, like I said when I got interviewed at Pancakes and Booze, like just putting your nose down and really just concentrating on the work and like remembering what your purpose is, or whether you feel like the purpose was given to you divinely or you gave yourself that purpose. Just don't let anything stop you from accomplishing the thing that you set out to do. And sometimes when you give yourself to your work like that, it's not that your problems go away, but you don't think so hard on them to the fact where you like think yourself out of a solution. Sometimes the solution just comes naturally when you're not so focused on what the issue is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What is your perspective?
Well, I kind of relate myself to most of the answers. What I do to make myself feel better when I feel sad or depressed, I watch the comedies, listen good music, and I work. I think work helps a lot because you feel proud of yourself when you accomplish something. I try to have the bullet journal that I recently talked to my mom about. So when you write it down what you need to do in a day, you put everything like easy tasks first and hard tasks. And it's really helpful when you just cross like an easy one, like scratch the cat, or like have a dinner, or I don't know, brush your teeth, and you just cross that. And then when you have most of stuff done, you can take a big tasks. And if you not make this task that day, it's not a big deal. It's not a problem, it's not a catastrophic. When you're satisfied with your day and the task which you've done, you feel much better. You feel like, oh, I did it. I'm proud of myself. I'm satisfied it. And it makes you feel a little bit more positive, especially with the combination with a good movie and good food. That's what helps. Chocolate, that's actually medically or like scientifically proven that chocolate helps you to feel better. It's like a medicine from depression.
This is a podcast. Everything we say is true. Chocolate is medicine.
Eat it.
All right. Moving on to the last question.
Oof.
You ready, Marie?
Yeah.
Awesome. Sometimes in life, in order for us to become better people, we need to leave something behind. Can you describe a time like that in your life and how that made you a better person and helped you grow?
We give the word to the people.
Actually, leaving my ex-husband and getting divorced. So I guess that made me a better person. Grow some balls, some boundaries, learn how to love myself, all that jazz.
I think mine personally would be it's hard because it's toxic people, but also specifically in my family, which has been it's really difficult because you love them and it'll make you feel guilty. You almost feel like a shame that comes with it because you want to let these people go, even though they bring you all these like wrong feelings. But ever since letting them go, I've realized that closing a door doesn't mean that it has to stay shut forever. Just until I personally feel better. And I've also learned that, being with my partner, that I can't help anybody if I can't even help myself or self-soothe myself. So I would say that, I'm still not there to open the door yet, but I'm at least at the place where I know that I don't have to shut it forever. Even if they don't know that yet, I just know that for myself, that I can open it when I'm ready. And that'd be mine. Thank you.
Yeah, so the way I can answer that question, people watching this, if they knew me like in my 20s and before, more recently, within the past couple of years, quite bluntly, I gave up drinking and drugs. I haven't drank in almost 2 years, and I quit smoking marijuana, like actually before we got married. I would say November was the first full month that I did. And other recreational drugs that I've indulged in my past. I'm pretty much completely sober at this point. If you count caffeine as a drug, I still drink coffee, and I love Diet Coke.
You totally own chips.
I am addicted to potato chips. That is fair. But, yeah, those are things that I felt like I had to sacrifice in order to become a better person. Not just like the mental aspect, but like the physical aspect, it really affected me. Like, especially when I was drinking heavily, like I was really heavy, like was really fat, honestly. And then dealing with things like with depression, anxiety, things that I already dealt with my own diagnosed mental condition. It just really exacerbated things and made things a lot worse. All those things that I listed that I partook in, like I use that as a coping mechanism to deal with like my anxieties and stuff and my depression. I think it really helped me back in a lot of different ways. Like relationships, like my outlook on life. And I think that since like giving those things up, I was not only better able to take care of myself physically and like mentally, not to say that all the anxieties and stuff have gone away, but dealing with it on your own without those crutches makes you better equipped to deal with those things in the future, I think. It's not a cure. You're never not going to feel anxious. You're never not going to feel depressed. But if you learn how to deal with it on your own, it's a lot easier to deal with. And also, too, I feel like it kind of helped me realize better realize what I think my purpose is or what it should be. Since becoming like sober, I really kind of buckled down and really concentrated on like this, the production, the art that Marie does. Like I think I have a pretty active part in helping promote that. It just kind of made me realize like what my purpose is. And I don't think I replaced all that with the work. I think it just made me realize that the work is more worth it. And that's just like the biggest thing for me. I keep saying like giving those things up, like, oh my God, it's so bad, I have to lose it. Honestly, it's just putting those things behind me. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying I'm cured from everything. Anything could happen. Like I try to be realistic about it too. Like having that kind of addictive personality and I guess in a way being an addict. You always have to like be conscious of what you do, whether you're going through good times, bad. Like you don't want to fall back on that. I don't want to say like, I'm never going to drink again. I'm not saying that like as if I plan to drink in the future. You never know what the future holds, but I hope to kind of keep this mindset, kind of stay conscious about it, and just really put the work and like my purpose ahead of me.
In my situation, I'm not personally quit whatever I had, but the situation just pivot that direction that I just forced to quit everything I had. Who don't know? My funny accent come from Ukraine, not from New Jersey or any states that I live, like Philly. I'm from Ukraine, and so far in Ukraine, consistent battle with the aggressive country. And I was forced to quit everything I had, the job, the home, friends, some part of the family, everything that I like, love, and grow for a long time. I forced to leave it behind and just go forward, because the opportunities that I seen in front of me, and die is not one of them. And I think it's not like make me a better person, it's just make me myself, to exist, to create, to be useful. That's my purpose. And I believe whatever I quit, even if I never have it back, I believe that really was the great thing. And I really appreciate everything I had. All friends. I'm not losing my friends, thanks God. They all safe and healthy. I'm not losing anything in a way. It's exist, but it's like so far away, and it's not mine anymore. Because I come home here, and this is my home right now. And home is where you are, where your cats and dogs, when your husband, that's your home. Where your own bed, that's your home. And even that I have everything, I'm not like leave it, or it's not disappear, it's there. But the time passed, and I realized that I actually not craving that anymore. That was in the past. I accept that my past was the way it was, and was the way it was, and I just trying to build my life and myself, trying to be the better person right here, create the house right here, build the business right here, create my art right here, because I can't create it anywhere where I'm not exist anymore. So sometimes leave something behind or quit something is also just situation can happen. Don't hold yourself. Don't think, oh, it was so good. Of course, in the beginning it feels like that. It was so good that time when I have this and that, or I do this and that. It's also in the relationship too. People can stuck in the past. Don't stuck in the past. Just go forward. Past never make you a better person. Only future. Only right now. Like, you can build yourself right now for become a better person in the future. You can rebuild the past. So just live the past in the past and go forward. That's what I can say.
I think that's a good place to leave this, Marie. You know, we hope you got out of this experience as much as we have.
And you can share your experience in a comments section. We'll read it, we'll answer it. Share with us as much as you want, as much as you wish. We want to know what makes you happy when you feel down. We want to know what you quit to become a better person. That's important for us, because we choose this question not with no reason. We want to see a different perspective from a different people, because we're all different and we all have different state of mind and a different vision and a different situation. So share with us. We will really appreciate it. Maybe you can read something and something can help you in the comments. So.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you for watching, and have a good night, day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, whenever you are. Goodbye.